Hi everybody, I'm going to talk to you today in this video about idea maps and outlines. Now outlines of course are something you're probably familiar with. In fact, a lot of you use outline format for your pre-writing for Essay 1 and that's awesome. However, I want you to start moving away from outlines for the outlining phase and moving more towards idea maps. Now in the end, by the time you're ready to start your rough draft, an idea map really will become a traditional outline. The big difference is that with an idea map, you don't start off knowing the order of your ideas, knowing what paragraph is going to follow what paragraph, or knowing exactly where the counter argument goes. And I think that that's a really important step, because if you don't think about those things carefully, if you just sort of follow the traditional outline structure and fill everything in as you go, you can miss some really important rhetorical opportunities to present your best evidence when it will be the most impactful. Sometimes it's better to have your strongest evidence first in an essay, sometimes it's better to save it for last. Just like with the counter argument, sometimes you should start with your counter argument, but other times that's a horrible idea. So doing an idea map really gives you a little more flexibility and helps you get your ideas down without worrying about what order it goes into until later. So here's how it works. An idea map plans out the major points of an essay and organizes them by relationship instead of order. So in other words, on an idea map, you're going to have a bunch of bubbles or boxes or little pieces. You can also do this with note cards or post-it notes. And the goal isn't to put them in first, second, third order. The goal is simply to write in the information that you think is going to be important, like a topic sentence, the evidence or quote that you're going to use, and also to label it so that you know what purpose it is serving. For example, we have a counter argument labeled, we have a thesis statement labeled, we have supporting ideas labeled, and a conclusion. So as you can see here, these are not in any particular order, they're just wherever I happen to put them. Now I'm using this particular number of supporting ideas, counter argument, conclusion, and thesis for this example, but in your essays you might have a slightly different configuration. Most people will have something like this, but it is okay to go a little below or a little above the paragraph count depending on your argument. So once you have all those parts down and you know basically, okay, this supporting idea has features A, B, C. In other words, I have this topic sentence, I know that this evidence is going to support it, and I can explain the connection to the thesis this way. You're going to start sort of drawing arrows and writing transitions. I did this in a really messy way where all I did was try to show what each part connects to. Ideally, of course, or not ideally, importantly, all of your supporting evidence really does need to connect to your thesis. Otherwise, you have a big problem. Now, I'm also adding things like transitions to let the reader know information like the order that they're supposed to go in to make it flow nicely, but I'm also using some transitions like however to show that I'm going to be offering a contrasting opinion to the original thesis for my counter argument. And finally, when you put the ideas in order, it'll look like a much more traditional outline, and that's the goal. Because here what you'll notice is that my supporting ideas especially got put into a different order than I originally thought, based on what I thought was the most important evidence to start with, what I thought was a better thing to follow up with, and then what I thought was a good lead-in to my counter argument. Remember, this is only one way to organize your essay. This is not the requirement, this is not the only way to do it, and you don't have to write essay 1 this way, but you want to be able to know why you're putting your supporting evidence in that order and why you have a counter argument in the place that you have it. So hopefully this helps you get an idea about what idea maps are all about. Yours doesn't have to look like this, but it will have the same basic elements. It'll have units somehow divided that have the ideas in them. One unit for a thesis statement, one unit for supporting evidence, one for counter argument, etc., so on. The order that you end up putting them in is totally up to you. In fact, when you submit your idea map for the first composition outline requirement, you don't have to put them in order if you're not ready to. As long as you can show me that you have your main ideas plotted out and you know what you're going to put in each paragraph, you don't quite have to worry about the order yet. That's something you want to get into with your rough draft. So, as always, any questions, let me know. Otherwise, good luck on your idea maps.